Community Services Committee meeting opens at 2:12. So, Mr. Walking Stick, would you like to indicate?
It's during fire. We just God, we praise you for this day and the weather, and God, we pray for the business of the Cherokee Nation. God, we pray that you would receive all the glory, Father. God, let's conduct ourselves in a way, Lord, that would spring on you. God, we just thank you. We love you. Just thank you for your cross.
Dick Lake.
Here.
Frank Sargis.
Present.
Bill Anklin.
Here.
Jack Baker.
Here.
Joe Bird. Julia Coates. Here. Jody Fishingham.
Here.
Meredith Fraley.
Here.
Janelle Fulbright. Here. Don Garvin. Chuck Hoskin Jr.
Here.
Hannah Corey Jordan.
Present.
Lee Keener.
On me.
Curtis Snell.
Here.
David Thornton.
Here.
David Walking
Here.
Stick. Eric Helen Watts.
Honey.
We do have a quorum.
Thank you. On approval of minutes, Marcia and I talked just a moment ago, and we have one amendment to make on those. And we had talked about last month, talked about the No Water Clinic being delayed opening. Actually, it was the nutrition center. So if,
I'll make that motion, Mr. Chair.
thank you. Motion's made and seconded to amend those. Any discussion?
This is to approve the minutes as amended.
As amended. Approve the minutes as amended. All approved? Okay, and the reports, Human Services, Marshall Lamb.
Good afternoon. I apologize for that clinic there. I didn't try to take over health, but anyway. And Bill, I'll try not to pick on you today.
See, you're off to a good start.
Oh, well. I can always think of something. Yeah. I do have some things here real quickly. I've brought my clothing voucher staff here if you have any questions. And they have a handout that they're going to pass out, and it's got all the schedules on there for you to refer back to.
These were also, did you all get the little booklets in your mail slots? Okay, this is just another copy if you want to pass it around to anybody you may. Also has the schedules in there.
It's
If you'll
pertaining to
notice
this.
on the calendar, Bartlesville was on the 12th of July, but due to the school not being open, we had to move it to the 10th. So that's the only difference you'll find in this calendar and the calendar on your book.
Councilor Watts, did you have a question on this?
Yes, I do. Thank you, Mr. Chair. There was scheduled July 3rd between the weekend and the holiday. I think that'll be very problematic.
Okay. Really?
We're already covering a huge area, and then to put them in the middle of that time frame, I think would be too difficult for families. At least it was last month, and I'm having on my agenda to get to it. I don't know, they're on that side, they haven't made it over.
Yeah, it's still on July 3rd, and we open up at Locust Grove on the 2nd. A lot of this is scheduling that we look at availability that the school has if they're not doing functionings during that time. And also another reason we use the schools, it's so we can use it free of charge because, you know, we have our admin costs and stuff like that. So we can definitely go back and look at it and see what we can come up with.
I would greatly appreciate it because
Okay.
I think that would just be too difficult of time of year for our families to coordinate around.
We need some more.
Our media has already gone out.
That's true.
I mean, it's already difficult for our folks, and I know that you guys, we are so Tahlequah centric. And they're an hour from the complex. It's already difficult for them. They get one day a year where we actually go up and interact with them. You guys always do an excellent job. But I would hate that we already set them up for potential not getting there that day, and with gas prices the way they are, I mean, half the voucher could be eaten, depending on what kind of vehicle they have, just getting over to Locust Grove or something, or an alternative date. I think that's problematic.
Looks like we have some blank days in there, maybe we could work it out with the school. We'll try. But
Can
you
we
said
figure
that's
out some
already
kind of
gone out.
Yeah, and
Compromise
I noticed it was
or some
weekend
kind
too, and like on the schedule, I tried to coordinate like Claremore, you know, we did have it on the 3rd, and the next week would be Collinsville. Try to keep it centrally located in case they needed to come back the next day or that week. That's another thing we looked at. So we'll definitely look back at it, you know, try to see what we can do. We'll do our best. I mean, we understand.
Yeah, because like the single moms or single dads that are raising those kids, a lot of times if they're in those industries that require them to be there during those holidays, they're not going to be able to get off. That's going to be even harder on that Monday. Isn't that a Monday that falls on?
Tuesday.
Or Tuesday? I think it's just going to be even more difficult because they're going to be required to be at work with the extra shifts or something during the holiday season. That's just my take.
If anyone has that problem, let us know and
You'll try to work with
we'll
them?
work around
Okay.
with them. Sure,
Yeah,
always.
if you could look and then let us know the outcome via email, that would be helpful, and the commitment to help work out would be awesome. Thank
Okay.
you.
Councilor Roscoe?
Yeah, we're going.
Mark, I had a question on the clothing voucher program.
Here, go make some more.
How are you communicating this to the schools, this calendar? Is it something that's just mailed to the schools?
We actually have a distribution list with a school distribution list in 14 counties. And we have an intercore team this year, which is really great. More people to help out, more people to get the word out. And each of us are assigned certain counties, and we contact by phone each of those schools and tell them what we're doing, what it's for. And then we present it to them the best way they want it. If they want it by fax, if they want it by email, if they want it in the mail, however we can get it to them. If they want copies made, we're really working with the schools however they want to get it to post it to their students. We sent out a save the date flyer that concluded, we got them to all schools by the end of last week, and this next week we'll be distributing a full informational calendar. This last flyer was more like, oh hey, it's coming up, getting everybody in the sense of it, and now it's going to have the income guidelines on there. It's going to have more detailed information, and it'll be processed the same way.
Well, I appreciate that, and I think there won't be any school that can say, hey, we didn't know about this. It sounds like you guys are really working with them. I appreciate that. One other thing, I had suggested this last year, and I wondered, I'm thinking there's still time to do it, easy for me to say, but I wondered if you could get with CATA and look at their list of Cherokee Nation nonprofit groups, and simply email them some materials on this so that they can help get the word out too. I think that would really help. I strongly recommend doing that.
Is that still Rick Gasaway?
Rick Gasaway? Okay, yeah, I believe we've gotten with them. Yeah, and we're also going to distribute at all the clinics, all the nutrition sites, pretty much anywhere that'll let us post something up. We're going to try to hit them in the community buildings and community centers as much as we can.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Councilor Walkenstick?
What's the start date on this?
July 2nd.
July 2nd?
Mhm.
Okay, and those applications are, you're gonna be sending those applications to the schools?
No, what happens is we take the applications at that site. We bring our own staff, which is usually about 25 staff per site, and they come in, they're given a number, and then when their number is called, then they'll start the application with us. We have our applications. We verify their registration on site, we verify their residency on site, their income, and then that day they're actually issued the voucher.
I know, I'm a director of vignette in Muskogee Public Schools,
Mhm.
so I deal a lot with tribes and the clothing programs. And the Creeks, theirs is May 7th, it starts up. And of course, they send all theirs down to Creek Nation to get all the paperwork and everything. But the problem I see with July 2nd is the schools being able to communicate with the children in the district. Because May, kids are still in school. July, kids are out of school, and it's gonna be hard to communicate that. If you guys could, I don't know, maybe mail the application to the schools and then have, so they can have it beforehand to take, or have them, I don't know.
We really don't like to mail out the application just because
Well, no,
falsifying
if you-
information.
If you email it to the schools can distribute it to the students that need it. You understand? Like,
That's always a possibility. I mean, we can look at that. That's definitely something that we can definitely look at. I don't have any problem with that. We have a, because we do send things to the JOMs, the JOM coordinators there at every site. And if they're okay with handing out the applications to their, I mean, we can pose that question to the JOM coordinators, because we work pretty hand in hand with them early on.
Well, Cherokee Nation, JOM coordinators, I guess part of this program, you have to be within the 14 county jurisdiction.
Yes.
Is that right?
You do,
So, we're not, Muskogee's half and half,
right.
and we're not affiliated with the Cherokee JOM. It's all Creek.
Yeah, we coordinated with the JOM people that were within our 14 county area, so we
Yeah, but what
contacted
about
those
the
schools.
Muskogee Public Schools?
We also
that-
contacted the schools. And this next flyer that's going to go out, I believe it's going to go home with all the students, with the dates and the calendar and information, income guidelines, things like that. But we do contact the schools as well as the JOM staff.
Can you email me the application?
Yeah,
Yep.
Once it's settled, we redo the application every year, so we put different dates on it and stuff like that. And I don't,
It probably won't be ready.
But
even by the
just
time
get to me as
school's
soon as
out.
you can before school's out.
yeah, if we can get it done by the, if she can
What's
get
that,
it
about the
done.
middle of May?
There's a lot of things that has to go, but yeah, I'll try my best to have it done before the school time is
It's
up.
the middle of May, somewhere. Okay.
Right now, we're really working on handouts and getting things to the schools, things like that right now. And so we're also in the process of, the bid is currently open, so we're trying to figure out what school, what store it's going to be. We won't know that until the end of April. And so that's some of the timeframes. It's not that we don't want to work, it's just some of the timeframes. If we can get it taken care of, then yeah, absolutely we will. So. Any more questions?
You answered part of my question. I was hoping that the schedule was going to go out before school was out.
It will.
And that they could give it out to the kids. I think if you do that, then they'll know where they need to be and when.
Right.
I noticed that Cherokee County, or I guess District 1, looks like those are the only places you can go for District 1. Is the last 2 days of the month. There wasn't any way we could do it like we've always done it before, put one up front and one at the end.
Well, we had called some of the schools and some were wanting to charge us. Sequoia schools are really hard to get into because they do a lot of programs over the summer. And we had put kind of one in the middle of the month. But we had originally been told yes, but they said they were closing down about the middle of the month. So then we had to go and relook at schools, and we found Woodall, and they had those 2 dates open.
And that was the other thing, they've always done it at Sequoia School, and it was not convenient for them or something to use the gym
That is
this year?
Correct, that's correct.
Because Woodall's kind of off the beaten path. Could we make an attempt before you send this out again to encourage Sequoia School to let them come up there?
They were pretty firm, we can't do it.
Who is they?
Oh,
I didn't.
I talked to him, it's, I'm sorry, I can't think of the name off the top of his head, but I will definitely get that information to you.
I would think that this would be something that they would want to do. Would you all care, Marcia, to talk to Dr. Morton to see why we can't do it at Sequoia schools? That's where it's always been done, and everybody was used to going there. What's gonna happen is Woodall, half of them are not gonna know where Woodall's at. For this reason, we're picking up everyone that missed it everywhere else.
Right.
At these
Right.
ending dates, we're gonna get a lot of people from other areas, and they're not gonna have any idea where to go out to a rural school. Now they know how to get to our Sequoia schools. I would just ask for you to consider that, because if if we're gonna do the last 2 days, then you're gonna pick up from every other district coming here that's missed turning in on their days. And you're gonna find, you're gonna have them driving all over the county, because they're not gonna know where to go. I mean, we know where Woodall's at.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure that somebody from Claremore would know where Woodall's at. Or maybe from Collinsville or Bartlesville would know where Woodall's at, because they don't play them in the ball games.
Yeah.
They do play Sequoia, so a lot of them probably know where Sequoia School's at. I just asked for you all to, I think if you talk to Dr. Morton, I think it might be a possibility.
Okay.
Not that we don't appreciate Woodall offering their school, but I just think you're gonna have a logistics
I'll call.
situation.
I'll call now.
And
That
will
would be
there
wonderful if we can get Sequoia. I mean, that's originally where we wanted it.
They've never liked us using Sequoia because they say we're too messy. Because they get hot and they want to bring water in, and sometimes they will wait and want to eat there because they want to be sure they don't miss their number. But we need to make every effort. It is our school and our campus, and I would think they'd try to work with us.
What we noticed with a lot of the school systems this year was due to budgetary constraints, a lot of them are shutting down during the whole month of July, and so it was the dates and stuff, it took a lot to finagle.
The additional question I have is, since we're the last 2 days, we're not going to be short on vouchers, are we?
No, I plan to, I mean, I planned the budget last year and we didn't run out. We had money to move, and so I always have a back supply, and I always make sure that we're gonna have enough vouchers.
Because you'll have 1,000 or better will come here, they always do.
And that's also why we include the 10% discount with our contract, is so we can funnel more money out.
And one of the nice things last year we noticed is that actually the distribution was better. I don't know why, but last year we noticed that Tahlequah actually had less people. We had Adair County, we had Claremore, that were big sites. Adair, Claremore, and
Salisal.
Salisal.
It's because you had a lot of
And
them coming
Salina.
over here, and now they're staying in their own area.
Yeah, which is great,
Yeah.
which is what we like to see, because we don't want them to have to
Since we had the
travel.
last 2 days, some of them will have to come
Yeah.
over here this time.
I failed to tell you, this is Kara Whitworth. If you don't know, she's the director over child support. They do the clothing voucher. This is Michelle Locust. She is the coordinator over the program. So anytime,
She did it last year, didn't she?
Yes.
She did.
And did a very good job.
Thank you
There
very
were
much.
people standing in line at Sequoia School, they were given a number,
Good.
they knew when they needed to come back, it was very well organized, the best that you've had.
Thank you
was
very much.
last year. And I know, because I've been out there every year and giving out water.
And we appreciate that.
This is our first year.
But it was very well organized, and you're to be commended, you did a very good job.
Thank you very much.
Councilman Thornton?
Of course, I would like to commend you all for the job you've done in the past. I know when we started there in District 3, I was there at the Housing Authority, and it was very hot, and we did go out and hand out water, and then eventually you switched over to Salisal High School. Are they charging you?
No, they do not.
Oh, that's great. I know you did an awful good job there. But anyway, what kind of bothers me a little bit about my district is I have areas where the income guideline, they may not fall under the 13,000. They may make a little bit less than that. What about those people that may fall under that with a child and
You mean they make a little over that income?
If they make under that income, are they all right?
Yeah, they're eligible if they make under that income. That's their maximum per household.
What we did is we did it 125% over the poverty guidelines that are sent out by the Health and Human Services. And it's above 120%.
That's okay.
125%.
But thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Councilor Byrd?
They've asked a lot of the questions there, but Sequoia was one I was going to suggest that we try to move that over, and it's Carrie Michelle.
Yeah.
How long have we been doing it this way? Where we started in July, have you always?
It's
I
always
think
been
it's
that
always
way.
been that
So
way.
we've had good participation and
Mhm.
utilize our funds appropriately?
Last year, we handed out, how many?
6,125.
Sound like you know what you're doing?
Oh, like to think so.
Well, good. I mean,
But we'll definitely, I mean, if
And we
Marcia
do-
can work it out, that would be
well, with
great.
Sequoia High School, if there's anything that we need to do from our side, let us know because.
Okay.
I mean, and they were great last year. They asked how we wanted the room set up. They set it up for us. I mean, they were really great last year. It was just that they were closing because of the waxing of the floors, you know, janitorial things they need to take care of.
So no charge from any school, we're good there?
Yeah.
No charge, yep.
No charge.
Thank you.
Councilor Jordan?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It does get hot in Oklahoma in July. We just need to pray for cool weather. And I have one suggestion on the calendar. It'd be good if you could get the times, and I know it kind of crowded up, but maybe at the top, starting time,
Oh, yeah, definitely. We can put that on
8
there.
o'clock or 9 or daylight till dark, it'd be too long, wouldn't it?
Our time has
Well-
always been 10 to 7, and it'll be that way, 10 a.m. to 7, because we do have staff, like Michelle said, about 25 that travel to the different sites, and so it takes a little bit of time to get set up, and then they stay till 7. That's a hard month. Michelle works a huge amount of hours that month.
I would just
so-
suggest you put it up here in the corner, maybe.
Okay.
Show up at 7 or whatever time is convenient. It might get the word out a little better. Thank
We'll
you.
definitely do that.
Councilor Fishinghall?
Yeah, I was gonna know, how are you all gonna advertise it this year? That's what I got a bunch of complaints on last year.
I'm sorry.
How are you gonna advertise it?
We're going to put it out in all the community buildings where there's really no funds to put it in all the newspapers. We put it up in the schools. This year, we're putting it all in the elder nutrition sites because there's a lot of grandparents that raise grandkids. Any place that we have a place we can put them, we're definitely do it.
I know Frankie and I have before in the past have actually made flyers and put it in gone around to our housing authorities
Right.
and our housing group offices.
That's
Put them on doors.
That's a really good
And I
idea.
was gonna tell you all, you could utilize some of our day workers working in the housing authority properties to do that. And then we always call the paper or send the little announcements you all make, and our paper runs it for free.
Yeah, communications, we have a contact there, and then we send them the information, and they actually they have a list of all the free newspapers, and they'll run ads through that as well, through all the 14 counties, and we're also looking at free radio time, if we can get that. I mean, any way we can get it out, we're really looking at all of that.
And I wanted to reiterate what Councilor Story Jordan said about Sequoia Mike. People that miss our day are so used to coming over to Sequoia High School and using that second day as a cleanup on the days they miss. I'm kind of like her, I'm not sure they're going to go to Woodall, but they know they can always hit Sequoia on the last day.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, I just now divided out the 13,963 on your income guidelines. That, if you make over 671 an hour, you're over income.
We went off of the
That's less than our minimum wage.
U.S. poverty guidelines they made, and I will relook at them, make sure everything's.
Maybe I have my math wrong, it's 28,
This is
2,008
gonna
hours
run-
for work here, and when you
13's
divide it
will
out,
be-
it equals 671.
One of the things that's going to change is the 2013s will be coming out, so we'll adjust that to the
When you get
new
the numbers,
poverty.
could you send
It
it?
probably won't do it very much, but, you know, we can up it and up it and up until really then there's no poverty guidelines anymore, so.
Well, I think it
And
needs to be a
then-
little higher than our minimum wage. I'm a single mother, I know what it's like.
I know.
Which one is it, the 13th?
And as far as doing it in July, it's kind of like the angel tree. They know around Christmas we're going to have the angel tree, so they start calling when we're going to have it too.
Councilor Hargis and then Councilor.
I was just gonna make a suggestion, and you may have already thought about it, on your advertising, can we make a commercial or something that goes on these televisions that are in the clinics and in the tag offices? We might consider that.
Okay, we have thought about that, and we will make contact and try to make that a priority, because that's a great way to advertise. Thank you.
No problem.
Dr. Morton says we can use Sequoia.
You just didn't ask. You just didn't ask the right person.
Okay. Got that down.
Okay.
Thank you,
So
Dr.
for those 2 days.
Speaker Jordan.
That, Frankie had an excellent idea. If we could put that on all of those TVs that are around in the health groups, and that would be excellent. You are going to keep this will set the pot for later on in the year for the coats. We'll try to keep the coats in the scheme of things when we redo our new budget.
Sure.
We will, I'm assuming that you will ask for money so that we can give each one of these kids money in the fall for a coat.
I will now.
Well, I would hope that everyone
Yes.
would be for that. We did that last year. It was a big hit because the clothes that they're buying with this money gets them through until about December. Then they don't have a coat to wear for the rest of the year. And we did coats last year. I think everybody will remember that. And I don't know about you all, but we were, in this area, we were just inundated with positive feedback, how much they appreciated that we came back and gave the kids money for a coat.
Good. We're really glad to hear that. And last year was the first year that the coat voucher was ever done, and like you said, a lot of positive feedback. We actually got a card from a little boy, I think he was about 7, said, "Thank you so much for my coat." I mean, it was just so sweet, just those little terms of endearment, you know. And it was a process, a growing process, a learning process. I know if we are fortunate enough to get the budget again this year for the coat vouchers in the fall time, I know ways of improvement, and if any of you all have suggestions, you know, we're always open for the best process for our citizens.
Well, I'm encouraging you to apply for the coat too.
You got a card for a 7-year-old?
Yeah.
There's a mama teaching a kid proper etiquette and quality manners right there. I very seldom hear about that, writing a letter saying thank you. That's nice to hear.
Yeah.
Y'all don't have anything else? Thank you. That was interesting.
Not for that subject.
I'm not there yet.
Okay. You're not dismissing, okay.
Okay, thank you.
I am hearing scuttlebutt that we are going to have significant cuts in June that will not just impact programs, but also staff. Are we anticipating federal budget cuts?
I think we're always anticipating federal cutbacks, but I haven't heard anything definite on anything.
Okay, thank you very much, Marsha. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Councilor Hoskin.
I think Karen and I kind of had the same idea about budget cuts. But I had read an article this morning about the Republicans in Congress have proposed slashing food stamps of all things, and given this economy, it's mind-boggling. To the tune of about $30 billion over 10 years, something like it's going to impact the average family by like 11%. Obviously, these are people that are just hanging on the edge. I know we don't administer food stamps, but I'm wondering if you all have on your radar screen whether there's a comparable slashing of the program that we use for our folks out of the.
I haven't heard anything. Jerry, have you heard anything on food distribution?
No, not a thing.
Okay.
I think it comes out of the same part of the appropriations bill, and it worries me, and I know it's beyond our control other than to express our complete outrage that they would pick on folks that can't defend themselves.
Well, that would
So-
definitely impact our food distribution, because the ones who don't get the food stamps will come to us.
And it may be a cut for us too, and I just wonder, I know you guys are always vigilant, but just.
One thing that happened here about 3 years ago when the economy started getting really bad, SNAP, that's the food stamp program, received a major increase. It was like $25 per head per household. And we had problems with it because food distribution never saw any type of a benefit increase for our program. So the reduction for SNAP or the food stamp program might be cutting them back to the level that they were before they increased them here a couple years
It's
ago.
worse than that, Jerry. It's
Is it going farther than that?
accelerating cut, number one, when the economy's still bad, and it's tightening these rules so that fewer people can qualify. It's the sneakiest thing I've ever seen to do to folks that can't afford it. So what I'm worried about is they're gonna do the same to Indian people. And so I hope we're keeping an eye out.
We have a national food distribution conference coming up the end of June. And certainly any and all of you are welcome to come up and attend. And I would imagine it's going to be in New York this year and Niagara Falls, as a matter of fact. And if there's any major budget cuts anticipated, that will probably be one of the key issues that will be addressed at that time. We'll keep you informed.
If anyone wants those dates, we'll get them to them. It's the end of June, isn't it? I believe.
I believe it's in the report.
Yeah. I have a couple of grants that are coming up, and I'm going to ask Linda Van to come in because it's her grant. It's an emergency shelter grant and prevention and division, and a family violence prevention grant.
Yes, this is for the John A. Kidger Youth Services Center, also known as the Youth Shelter. The other one supplements Indian Child Welfare and also the Youth Shelter. So those are two grants. There's no matching requirement involved in this, and it's pretty much like a continuance grant because we've been getting these for several years, which helps.
Is that new business, by the way, Marcia?
Yes.
Okay, I wonder if we could go through the other reports first and then come back to
Sure,
that.
we sure can.
Sorry.
I was trying to get the important things out.
I know, we appreciate it.
Okay. The Veterans Center, we're waiting on the doors and windows. They've been back ordered and to finish that, and then that's when that portion will close down, and we'll be doing it through volunteers. No water. I'm going to send out some dates on the no water. I want to be sure that the ones who want to attend that open house, we can coordinate that with you guys. So we'll be sending out some dates on that. And the Collinsville, we are trying to get doing another bid. The bids were way over budget, and we're trying to keep that within the budget. So we're looking at that again, trying to get more bids on that. And that's all I have except for the grants. And this is just my idea that I wanted to try to make everything more readable. And this is just a copy of a draft monthly report. And see if you guys are interested in me doing something like that. Just give me some feedback, not today, but give me some feedback on it, what you guys think. And now I'm ready for the grants. That's all I
Okay, we'll come back to it.
Okay. So.
Any other discussion?
One question.
Okay.
Thank you. That's not going to, the new bids for the Collinsville property, that's not going to impact any dates, is it? Going to set it back any?
I hope not.
Okay. If it does, will it be minimal or greatly extended? Or?
I hope, well, I believe we have a year, don't we, Jerry?
Yeah, we have until March of next
Yeah.
year.
Yeah, so we should be okay.
Yeah, hopefully not.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay, well, thank you, Marcia.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll go to Community Services, David Sutherland.
Afternoon. I'm going to start with our disclosures for the month. Got Lisa Hutchinson, she's the niece of Tribal Councilman Curtis Snell, getting some home rehab. And that's the only disclosure I have for this month. The next Housing Authority Board meeting is tomorrow at noon over at the Allen Hogner Conference Room. The Community Works Grants, we got 43 applications in. We funded 11. There was one community building, a new community building down in the Brushy area. In that, we haven't spent all the money. I've asked my staff to do an assessment of the community buildings that are already on the ground. I keep hearing stories about, we funded these things and they're not finished. We got at least one where they got an air conditioner sitting in the corner. I think we need to finish those and get them up and running like they should be before we take on anything too much substantially more. The model homes, they're pretty much complete. We're just waiting on, actually the big thing is getting the computers hooked up or getting the lines ran to where we can have computers in there, and then got some folks that are going to move into those and use them as offices. Our new home program, we got seven advertised over Muskogee County. The bids are due tomorrow. We'll be systematically, don't ask me how sophisticated the system is, but start bidding in other areas. We're already processing in other areas, and we'd like to bundle at least 10, but 10's not a magic number. If it's 5, it'll be 5, but in other areas. Our IHS funding, we got notice, I guess last week, we took a $355,000 cut. We've put some money to make up for that in the carryover funds as a request. So at some point you'll be getting that request, hopefully. We've also put a little money in the youth and adult funds. I know that there was some issues on policy, and there was a work group that looked at that policy, and I think they've come up with some revisions to it. So we'd like to do a little funding in that, also with the carryover. The 2013 Indian Housing Plan, hope to get it to you all by the end of the month. If my memory serves me correctly, it's due to HUD July around the 18th. So there used to be a subgroup or a subcommittee that used to review those. I don't know if that's something you all want to do or how you want to do that, but I'll be getting that to you hopefully by the end of the month. Got a few roads projects I wanted to mention. And I think Michael's got a little report he's going to give out to you on some projects that were bid and who got them and tarot vendors and what have you. Just an update, the Barber Road here in Cherokee County is under construction. It's approximately 40 to 50% complete. Of course, the rain's going to play a little factor with that, slowing it down. Cedar Crest Bridge in Mays County, that's a 500-foot span bridge. It was awarded to Paradigm Construction out of Tulsa. We're expecting them to begin construction in mid-May. That Lee Creek Bradley Ford Bridge in Sequoia County, it's awarded to Paradigm from Tulsa. We're expecting them to begin soon, and the completion date is October 1st, projected completion date. Cedar Crest Road, Mays County, that's 2.4 miles, awarded to Roscoe Construction out of Muskogee. They should begin soon after the pre-construction meeting this week. And then the Shady Grove Road here in Cherokee County, 5.86 mile overlay. It's currently out for bids. And then we got one that should be out for bid in the near future, and that's Twin Oaks Bull Holler Road up in Delaware County. That's 9.72 miles of full reconstruction. That's everything I had down as something I wanted to mention.
Yeah, I have a question about Cherokee Water Board got a hold of us and the housing additional definitely has all kinds of leaks. What can we do about it? What programs are there? What monies are available?
I'll have to visit with Michael about, or Billy, with the funding that's available. Are you aware of leaks?
I was not aware of it. If the homes are paid off, then we can apply for funding through Indian Health Service for the project to make those repairs and improvements. And then, of course, I guess if they're not paid off, then that would have to go through Nahasda for the funding.
Would be an eligible item.
Did you all check into that?
We sure will. I'll call the operator and
Find out
check
the
on it.
lines, going house to house, what, and get
Sure.
back to us.
Sure will.
Okay, thank you.
I didn't catch that part about Shady Grove Road. here in
Shady
Cherokee
Grove,
County.
Shady Grove Road, 5.86 mile overlay. It's currently out for bid.
Are we doing that under IRR?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Where are we starting that at, from 51?
Yes, 51 all the way to, go down Shady Grove Road, turn to the west towards Shady Grove School. Just at the intersection by the school, you're going to turn back to the south. It kind of curves around and ties back into a county road. Not sure the road number right offhand, but it at a T intersection where it'll stop.
Wouldn't that be more than 5 miles? You're gonna start at 51,
Yes, ma'am.
there where 51 and Shady Grove and Goose Thompson's corner road is. You're gonna go to Dale Hall's old corner.
Yes,
And then you're gonna turn back west
yes,
and go to the school.
yes.
And how much further were you going?
Then at the school, you're going to turn south there. I think there's a football field or some kind of school ball field over there.
Okay.
Turn west or south there. It goes south for just a short bit and then turns back to the west again and tees in down there at an intersection.
Okay, so you're gonna stop before you get around to the Shankles land.
I'm not familiar with Shankles, but not their property.
You're not gonna go all the way through and hook up with Lost City Road, are you?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am. No, it won't hook up
And
with
it
Lost
will,
City.
it will look just like Jones,
It'll just be an overlay, an overlay of an existing.
so we're not gonna do drainage and,
No widening, no drainage. There were some drainage issues. County Commissioner Botts took care of that. He put some new culverts in. But this is strictly asphalt and some patching.
okay. Thank you.
Councilor Watts?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have a number of questions, and although I've already disclosed under the Sunshine Act that my husband owns Tulsa Pier Drilling, and he's a subcontractor and oftentimes a sub of a sub, it's on the list. I guess he is doing work under IRR, so I've submitted to the AG if there's additional requirements under the Sunshine Act or any other laws concerning IRRs, that's his company, and that he's a sub of, I guess, Paradigm Construction for the Cedar Crest Bridge in Mays County. So then I have 2 questions under Community Services, and then I have questions under the Housing.
Okay.
So I had put a request in like on April 4th concerning the youth community grant monies and where it was at and such. This report in your monthly report indicates that we are not out of money.
There's some salary money in that budget. That's the part that they still have some.
Okay, because I have a special education student that wanted to go to and had done his community service, and I guess a Cherokee Nation employee that works at Head Start there in Inola had promised this child. Then they were denied, and then I look at the report by county, and there's a huge disparity between, like, there's 20 in Rogers County and Tulsa and 18, but Cherokee County gets 589, or Adair County gets 556. I always thought that this program was supposed to be equitably divided for as much as possible, but I continuously get feedback from our youth that they never get served. Well, apparently why, if we're spending all the money in these other counties? So how can we remedy this? And is there any money for this child that wants to go to the Special Olympics?
I think I know which one you're talking about.
They haven't received any response, so I don't think.
As far as they process the applications as they get them until the money's gone. And that's how that policy was worded, is that they'll process applications until the funding's gone. It didn't divide it up by area, county, district, or anything. If that's the way it needs to be, and I believe that the youth fund and the adult fund was the two policies that when I visited with the new administration, we're out of money. What are we going to do? There's some issues with the policies. He said it needed to be left up to the council because those were council policies to begin with.
I would ask you bring that forward and we have it on the agenda, that we have the money either divvied out quarterly or monthly and by areas so that it's more equitably distributed, because our northern counties hardly get anything when you look at the monthly report, and that we can't remedy that from what's already happened, but we could remedy that going forward, and I'd like that brought forward on next month's agenda at this committee. So just be agenda item at the next meeting.
So we'll put that as an agenda item
I
for
would-
next meeting.
Please.
Okay.
Then we had one of your staff at our community meeting yesterday, and I had some questions. So there was this survey that was handed out that asked for a lot of personal information about people, email addresses, Facebook, Twitter, phone numbers and such, if they want voter registration. Who owns this data and how is it going to be used and such? It was Donnie Mackey, Community Leadership, come to our RCCA meeting.
The purpose of it is just to develop a database for communities. And when they get ready to coordinate with communities or get a hold of them, provide them information, they'll have a database to go to. That's the purpose of the information.
Okay, because it wasn't for the officers or the organizations, it was handed out to every individual in the room. That's what we were trying to figure out. And we had a lot of community members that wanted to know what was going to be done with that information once it was.
Really just to put in a database so that they can have a better database of, we've got the organizations under CAUTA that work with those folks, but there's a lot that we don't have information on. And that's the purpose of it.
I know when it's done, or maybe every 6 months, I would like our district's data then for Rogers and Tulsa counties so we can reach out to those folks and make sure that we're making contact if they're that engaged. The other deal is that there was a safe list or some list of employees or something about a reorg mentioned by Donnie at the meeting. I was kind of concerned, you know what that is? Like if there's going to be a reorg and.
My department has done a reorg,
Okay.
but I don't know what a safe list is.
It was kind of alarming. It was
Well,
alarming
anytime
for
you
people.
start talking about lists, safe or unsafe, you're going to alarm people. But no, it's just simply moving folks where they need to be.
So is she over CAUTA? How does that look?
She's not. She's more. Her concentration is going to be more over at large, and then going to meetings like community meetings and
Okay.
things of that nature, and representing community services and what's going on in areas and providing information.
Okay. Then my next questions are on housing. So you passed these out in hard copy at the last meeting, and will you email this to us? And is it online at the Housing Authority webpage, website?
That policy, no, it is not.
Is there-
You're talking about this?
Yeah, there's like, you handed out these two things at the last meeting.
I believe the one in your right hand is the application deal. I think it is online.
Yes, it is.
Okay, because people are asking all these details and we didn't necessarily know, because this was the first we got of it.
Right.
And we had to stop and make time to read it in hard copy. So there's a number of questions. Thank you for providing the details on each of the homes on the cost, but it didn't include like any overhead or environmental quality.
Right.
So what are the additional costs for environmental checks and overhead?
What we have done in the past on adding we call it an administrative fee, we just added 5% to each house. Back in the early 90s, well, gosh darn, I guess forever that I can remember, we would just simply add a 5% to the total cost of the house cost, and that would consider the administrative fee to take care of the overhead costs for those.
Okay, so it's 5%, so we should take that cost and add additional 5%.
Yeah,
Okay, so we are still the recipient of NAHASDA funds at Cherokee Nation, and then we divvy it out to the housing authority, is that correct?
well, right now, you don't, there's none that gets divvied out to the housing authority. It all flows through, the tribe's the recipient, and the housing services is just a department of the tribe.
Is it gonna stay that way for this model?
What the chief is wanting to do is to set the housing authority back up. It would have employees, and it would go back to the pass-through budgets like it was before. They're called pass-through budgets. The difference would be some of the functions that are going on out here, we would continue to use. Human resources, some finance, probably some procurement, and we would continue to pay the IDC rate as payment for those services.
And that's how, that IDC is going to cover the cost of those additional employees and such in their office space?
The IDC for,
I'm trying to figure out what funding sources and how we're gonna pay for everything, even the houses.
well, the additional staff that we're hiring, right now we're using housing authority funds. The housing authority put up, or they appropriated $5 million to build houses. And
Is that out of the $15–20 million of receipts we have from
The-
the other
yeah, the-
NAHASDA funds?
no. This is from housing authority funds, has nothing to do with NAHASDA funds. It's old proceeds of sale funds. We've kind of renamed them.
But that is that $15–20 million one-time funding that we've got on the table? And that's, like, it's not reoccurring, that's a one-time amount of money?
I think we're talking about two different things.
Okay.
You're talking about carryover of past NAHASDA money?
No, I think I'm talking about proceeds of sale.
Okay, then we are talking about the same thing. It's housing authority money that they have in the bank over there. We use $5 million of that. We'll get a house completed, okay? We've got a house completed. I'm gonna go down to the local bank or whoever I use and say, I want to borrow money for X amount of dollars. It's gonna be right around $60,000. And it'll.
We are, not the individual?
No, we are.
Okay.
It'll be a housing authority loan. We have 25 or 30 right now that we've done on different programs.
How do we determine who the bank is? And what's an acceptable rate?
Well, that's, we haven't actually said, hey, we're going to use this or that or something else. We need to do that. I don't have an answer for you right here today. But what we'll do is we'll get the loan, we'll reimburse the proceeds of sale. If $60,000 isn't enough for the whole cost, that's where we'll use the funding that's been appropriated in the grant. It's called the program income. And the reason we're using program income, it's real close to being designated as non-federal requirements. They'll no longer have any federal requirements. And in that way, it gives us a little more freedom on how we do things.
But the staff administering the programs are still through federal funds, right? Because the more I looked into it, because the program policy mentions how we're gonna have to comply with all the federal, because we still have a housing authority, which is state law, and state law requires that it only goes to low-income folks, right?
You're right.
So we're serving,
No, you said state law, federal law.
but we also have a state-authorized housing authority. Mr. Chairman, I know I have a number of questions, and I'll try to get these in writing and work this out with him so that it'll report to the entire council, and I appreciate your time. Thank you. I'll be visiting with you. Thank you.
Okay.
Councilor Gervin?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. David, you mentioned Muskogee, 7 houses. Can you expound on that a little bit?
Between here and Fort Gibson at 4 Mile Road, go north half a mile, up there to, I think it's called County Line Road, and then go back to the east, east, about, what, a mile, less than half a mile? We have an addition right there already.
East, you'd be back in Cherokee County.
No, it's still in,
It's on the south side of the county.
yeah, it's not that far from D-Bar J grocery store. But we've already got, what, 7 or 8 houses in there?
There's 14 homes.
And We got those empty lots and they're a real good location, and we went ahead and bid those out.
Do you have individuals already for these houses, or
We do not, but we've already made contact, started contacting folks in Muskogee County.
are there going to be a variety of different types, or just one type?
They're going to be 3-bedroom with a garage.
All of the same?
They'll be different brick colors and so different bricks used on some of them.
Same plans?
Yeah, yep, yep. We're trying to keep it the same as we can, as much as we can, to keep the cost as low as we
Is this going to
can.
happen tomorrow?
I think the bids
Bids are
due
due
tomorrow at noon.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Councilor Baker?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Is contemplating a joint meeting in Texas for the Texas community groups for next month?
There is a meeting in Bell County, Texas, May the 19th.
Because the large councilors were never informed of this, and we heard it through other sources.
Okay.
And I would hope that when you're planning these joint community meetings, that we would be notified at least.
I would agree.
Thank you.
Councilor Coates?
I would echo that, and I've already made this request of COTA, but I'll make it publicly of you as well, that we not only be notified, that we also be consulted as to the date, because we only get to see our communities once a year generally. And this is, this date was not a good date for me. I'm not going to be able to make it. I think Jack's going to be able to make it, but when we get very little opportunity to actually have FaceTime with our constituents, I would appreciate not only being notified, but being consulted as to whether this is a convenient date.
I apologize. I did not know that happened, but we'll take care of it.
The other, I've got a couple, may I? I want to go back to what Councilor Watts was asking, because Ms. Mackey accompanied us to meetings in Kansas and Colorado as well a couple of weeks ago. And by her own admission, when she spoke in front of the group, she acknowledged that she had almost no experience of working with at-large communities or knowledge about at-large communities, although she does admittedly have a great deal of experience with local regional communities. But I guess my question was the position, her position, was it advertised?
Yes.
And were there other applicants for the position?
Yes.
Okay, so she was chosen for this over other applicants despite the fact of not, by her own admission, not having really any real expertise or experience.
She has a lot
with
of
the at-large communities.
I just raised a point of order. We should probably be cautious at this point about weighing into some hiring decisions, but I guess that's what I'll leave. Thank you.
Let me reframe the question. Thank you, Mr. Attorney. Reframing the question, I think, is the way to do this. Is there some way I could have a copy of the advertisement for the position? And
yeah, I'm sure you can.
And I don't know, and Chuck, you can advise me on this. I don't know if it's...
Ms. Coates?
Yes.
I wonder if I could ask our Attorney General to kind of give you and I a little help here in where we're going.
Well, I would echo the statements of Councilor Hoskins. Anytime we're talking about human resources issues, we have to be extremely cautious in that genre. But what I would recommend is send a FOIA request and a GRA. I will go over it and make sure that the information that can be disclosed will be.
I completely understand, and I apologize. I was going forward without thinking. I acknowledge that, and I apologize. The other statement that was made, Eddie Crittenden was also present at those meetings and announced that he was a community liaison now to the at-large people as well. And I wonder, was his position advertised also?
His position that he's currently in was an emergency hire. It is being advertised. If it's not advertised right now, it should be in the next few days. It's been sent over to be advertised.
And my last, with your indulgence, Mr. Chair, is that I would also want to echo Councilwoman Watts' request for the copies of the data about the information that was being collected in terms of the addresses, et cetera. I would very much appreciate being able to have that as
Did
well.
you say quarterly, or what did you say? How often
Every
did you
6
look at?
months.
6 months, quarterly?
3 months is great.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Councilor Thornton?
Yeah, David, I just have one question. Starting date, Bradley Ford Bridge.
Do you have one?
I don't have a starting date on it yet. We haven't had a pre-construction meeting on there, but they know that the completion date is October 1st. So as soon as I get a begin date or an estimated start date, I can send that information to you, because I know
Starting date is
very important. I
October of
understand.
last year would have been a good date, wouldn't it?
It sure would be.
Yes, I hear you. But I can certainly relay that.
Okay,
As soon as-
appreciate it. I'm sure that Ms. Fuller.
Yes,
Thank you.
Anything else?
Thank you.
Roads and Transportation, Michael Lynn.
Good afternoon. I think David covered all of my report, but I just did want to mention that this handout that I passed out was in response to Mr. Chairman's inquiry last committee meeting last month in regards to who, out of some previous contracts that we've had, who was material contractors and subcontractors and who wasn't. This is basically down the left-hand side. Across the top is the name of the project, the contractor, the prime contractor, and down the left-hand side, I just organized it in kind of major items of work that involve subcontracting. And the Caro certified subcontractors at the time are listed there in red. Other than that, that is all that I had to report.
Speaker Jordan?
Yes, Michael, who's responsible on the Honey Hill project for the fencing?
That project complete, but it was the project is complete now, but it was spring water fencing.
And what were the agreements that we made with the landowners regarding the post length, the number of wires, the gates, braces? Did we have like guidelines that we asked everybody to go by as how it was built?
We have a standard fence detail that we go by.
What is the standard?
Oh gosh, I mean.
Is it 3-wire?
Five, okay, I wasn't sure if you want
Yeah.
exact specs or not. 5-strand barb, and then we've got a woven wire fence detail as
5
well.
barbed wire. And what size post? Is it 6 foot or
Six and a
6.5?
half.
6.5?
Mhm.
And are the gates to be provided by us?
Us.
And
If they had a gate, we replaced them with a gate. If they didn't have a gate, we do offer to put up
and
wire
that's a pipe
gates.
gate? or
Tube gate, yes ma'am.
Tube gate?
Mhm.
Okay, and then the braces, do we dictate how the braces are to be put in?
Yes ma'am. We have a very strict detail on that 4-inch post in the ground with, I'm not exactly sure the diameter of the cross members. They may be 4 inch as well.
So if someone's getting a 6-foot post with a 3-wire fence and no gates, and the braces aren't set as I would generally see them set as for fences, who do we need to talk to?
If it's one of our projects, me.
Okay.
Are you insinuating that there's some substandard fencing?
Well, the complaint has been made that they did not get the fence that they thought they were gonna get.
There should be no 3-wire barbed out there, unless somebody's taking some
And I
down.
propose just send that individual to you and
That'd be-
let you
that'd be-
visit with him.
That'd be
Because
fine.
I didn't know if there was different standards at different points, if it was negotiated. And maybe some of them got 3 or 4-wire fence. I mean, that sounded kind of unusual if it's for cattle retaining, so
Right.
you use a 3 or 4 wire. Now the 6 to 6.5 foot, that's kind of a personal preference. And I would have thought they would have got gates. and some of them didn't get what they wanted, and so, or what they, I shouldn't say what they wanted, because you always want more than what you get, but they didn't get what they thought
Okay.
they were supposed to get.
Okay.
And so I want to have someone to send them to, and I think you're the person.
Okay, I'll take care of it.
Okay. Thank you.
Mhm.
Councilman Hargis? You're done, okay. Councilman Thornton?
Yeah, I just wanted to ask another question of David. David, could you, by any chance, on these homes that we're building from now on, could you send us out a list of the contractors and what the Cherokee contractors?
Mhm. I got an updated one right now. I can shoot you for the model homes that we got.
Well, are those the same contractors going to be building all these homes?
No, we're bidding each little section individually.
Okay, as you bid them out and they get the jobs,
You bet.
would you do that for me?
Yep, not a problem.
Appreciate it, because it's because I'm being asked.
I understand. No, not a problem at all.
Okay, thank you very much.
Councilor Garvin?
Before you build the fence, is this fence line surveyed and set?
It's not, this fence line is not necessarily surveyed or, there's no, it's set on the right-of-way line is where it's set at. And that is set in with survey crew, but it's not there's nothing on file at the courthouse that shows where the fence line's at. All their property boundaries are still the same.
Just kind of guess and go down through there?
No, it's not a guess, not at all, but they're,
Looked like you'd need a survey. You're not gonna
well,
guess.
the right-of-way boundaries are surveyed, with there's wood stakes in there. There's not pins set, so it's not,
So the fence will be right on the right of way.
yes, fence is right on the right-of-way.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Councilman Snell?
Michael, at Twin Oaks, Bull Hollow Road.
Yes, sir.
Bid that this year.
Probably in the next week to 2 weeks is when it's gonna go out. We've got a date established. In fact, hang on a second. Bill, let me see. No, I don't have it written on here. I apologize. Shady Grove's loop went out today. I believe Twin Oaks is scheduled to go out next week.
So I hope that was all counted backwards.
I suppose if you'd like to.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Councilor Fishnaw?
Yeah, I just was wanting to reiterate what Councilor Gloria Jordan said, because I had gotten some complaints, if you wanted your fence back, it cost $125. A gate, I mean. I said fence, a gate.
Now, I can tell you on that, are you still referring to Honey Hill? I can tell you there was not very many gates that we had scheduled to go on the job. I think there was in the neighborhood of 3 to 6 gates. There wasn't too many on the job. It's because I don't guess there was too many gates out there to start with. We did build drives and field entrances that probably may not have had gates to start with, and therefore they didn't get gates back. And I think I've heard the same $125 mark you had, which if that was a gate purchased and set and everything welded up and chained to the other post, $125 is probably a reasonable price for a 16-foot
Well, this
gate.
gentleman it was his gate to start with. That's when he contacted me, and he's since passed away, and his widow contacted me.
Okay. I'll be glad to take a look at it. I can tell you exactly where we had the gates scheduled to go and what landowners they were on. Yeah.
You know, Michael, we probably could alleviate a lot of this problems if we have those landowners sign up front after they review the plans. Are they okay with the fencing?
We do have them sign what we call special provision sheet. It says that there's either special provisions that have been negotiated or none at all. So we do have their signatures on that type of document.
And if it is going to be a standard fence, maybe we ought to put that in there so that they understand it, because I think it's just maybe a lack of communication, because there's great length of time between the time we discuss it with them and
there is.
when we do it, so maybe they're forgetting what all was agreed to, and possibly we need to leave them with that little sheet. When we have them sign it, we'll have them sign two, and one of them be theirs and one of them be ours. I bet that would cut down on a lot of your, it seems like the fencing is what we're getting the complaints on, and I think we're still doing the fencing within the jobs, aren't we?
Correct.
possibly we might want to revisit whether we want to do the fencing ourselves after the job is complete. You know, we talked about that once.
I don't know how you'd hold livestock in after the job's complete, during the construction and after. It'd be, something we'd have to work out, but.
I mean, if it continues to be a problem, we may want to try to do it ourselves, because a lot of these folks that are making these complaints are our Cherokee people. And so we sure want to make sure that they're put back in as good a position as they were before.
Agree.
Or better, hopefully.
Yes.
Anything else? Okay, thank you, Mike. Commerce Housing Report, Hannah Knight.
Good afternoon. I know you're running short on time. You have a copy of my report, and I'll be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
I have a comment. I want to thank you personally for helping one of my constituents get a big, long, complicated thing all figured out correctly.
Good.
They were so happy.
Thank you.
For all your help.
Thank you.
Councilor Coates.
Yes, thank you. Are you familiar with the recent response that we've received from HUD about the 184 loans in Texas that we
Yeah.
requested a couple years ago?
I emailed Shay while we were sitting there to see if and she has not heard back, but I'll follow up and I'll get back with
Because
you.
apparently some of my constituents have heard from Mr. Wright directly, and they
Mhm.
sent that to me, and I didn't know if they had copied that to you. I'll send it to you.
That would be
then,
great.
Because it was not a very good response, and wondered
No, we
if
haven't
can-
received that
I'll
yet.
send it to you.
That would be
Thank you.
great, thank you.
Anything else? Thank you, Hannah.
Thank you.
If we go on to old business, none pending. New business is a 12-058 resolution. Janelle?
I'm not ready to read it. Yes.
Is that the resolution support of rural area post offices within the jurisdiction of the Cherokee Nation? With that form of states.
Without objection from the councilwoman, I'd like to be added as a co-sponsor.
Yes, anybody that would like to be added as maybe everybody would.
Yes.
I do want to be added as a sponsor, but I would like to offer a friendly amendment to add a whereas section, that it is critical for the Cherokee Nation to preserve our heritage, culture, and language by maintaining historical communities. Semicolon and. Because I think that was the one thing that, I was very thankful that you brought this forward, Councilwoman, to disclose some of my in-laws are postal workers or retired postal folks and letter carriers, but they, that is one of those critical things, is that helps, that post office is this oftentimes the center of many of our historical communities, and I think we need to note that if we're gonna send that to the postmaster and President Obama. So just to add that section. Okay, thank you so much. What does this second?
I accept that. I mean, I don't want to bog us down here with this language, but the Postal Distribution Center in Tulsa is slated for closing. And I know that's outside the Cherokee Nation, but a lot of people work there and a lot of Cherokees work there. And so we might, between now and full council, think about some additional language if this is.
Mr. Chairman, I think that the councilman brings up an excellent point, and that we should specifically, in the be it resolved section, object to the closure of that, because that is the distribution center that primarily serves northeastern Oklahoma, is the way I would understand it. So that we could forward that out to the all federal delegation, the postal master general, and President Obama.
I'd accept that as a friendly, as the second, and then we can work on language between there.
So both those, thank you so much. Thank you.
So we have a motion to second. Friendly amendment was seconded. All those in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion passed.
Mr. Chairman, I should have done this earlier, and we talked about it prior, and I've talked to Mr. Sutherland, but a constituent who I won't name on record, but we talked about privately, has asked for the senior housing to be considered smoke-free. Could we amend the agenda as item number 6 to urge the housing authority to make those facilities at senior centers smoke-free?
Counselor Watts, you came to us earlier, before we started the committee, and I agreed to entertain this. I have since learned that, as you know, Cherokee Nation Complex is smoke-free. The housing authority apparently is a little bit different, and I don't know, I wonder if we could do this next month and get into it.
Okay, I will let her know, and if it'll be on the agenda as an item, then I would appreciate it if Mr. Sutherland would bring that research forward. If there's any legislative or policy, or legal or policy issues that would preclude us from doing it.
I would appreciate it.
No, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, let's see, going forward, resolution 12-059. Who is that? Dinah?
Yes, this is to make an amendment to the IRR roads inventory and add on Marcoma Drive, which is here in Caldwell. Can I put that in form of a motion?
Motion second, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Resolution 12-060.
This also is a resolution to continue our rural transit program, and I will put that in the form of a motion.
Motion's been made and seconded, any discussion?
Thank you. Is it a threat, or is this a normal thing? I can't recall, I don't recall if we've normally done this in the.
We have.
Okay, so
Yes.
it's just a normal, and this was annual?
Yes,
Okay,
this,
never mind.
this allows
I'm
us to
satisfied.
apply for the funding.
Okay.
If I can, Mr. Chair, I would prefer 12-59 and 12-60 be forwarded to full council if possible tonight.
So moved.
The last one.
The last one and this one, yes, ma'am. Thank you, sir.
Okay, 12-060 has been seconded. Any discussion? We've had that. Approved?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, resolution 12-061, and Mr. Jordan.
This is a resolution authorizing the submission of a grant application by the Department of Children, Youth, and Family Services. I believe that we've covered it a little bit in our period where we went over our reports. It's a continuation. And it has no matching requirement, and I put it in form of a motion. And I would ask that it go to full council tonight.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? Yes,
Chair, I'd
sir.
like to be added as a sponsor, please.
Okay. All approved?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution 12-062. Speaker Jordan.
This is a resolution authorizing the Department of Children, Youth, and Family Services to submit an application for funding to the Oklahoma Office of Juvenile Affairs for emergency youth shelter services and provision. And it is a no matching and also is a continuation of funding. I will put that in form of a motion and ask that it go to full council.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion?
I'd like to be added as chair, sponsor, Mr. Chair.
Motion's been made and seconded. All to approve?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Next meeting is tentatively scheduled for Monday, May 14th at 2 p.m. Any other announcements?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All approved? Aye.
10 minutes?
10 minutes?